Since the Cold War ended, there has been a dramatic increase in big spending on physics projects. The construction cost of the latest CERN experiment, the Large Hadron Collider, was $4.75 billion as of 2010, later rising to $9 billion. It is the most expensive experiment ever built. In 2012, it created the Higgs boson, an exotic particle which exists for an infinitesimally small time. It decays back into more common particles in less than a trillionth of a billionth of a second. The estimated cost of this discovery was $17.5 billion. The work is unfortunately of little use understanding everyday matter. The LHC project has really achieved only one of its 5 stated aims. It has recreated conditions at the birth of the universe and inside black holes, colliding together matter and antimatter at very high energy. The experimental data has been of little benefit to everyday science. To date, we still do not have a theory to explain inertia or how mass causes gravity. There is the inconvenient truth that the real purpose of the spend is to channel public money into personal income. There is similar controversy with other projects, such as the HS2 rail project. The concept is full of flaws. Rail fares are far too high to be competitive with other modes of transport. Any achievements are token gestures to justify continuing with the spend. The large projects have become machines to turn public money into private income for the survival of vast numbers of construction workers, engineers and scientists who are no longer being employed in the defence industry. If we truly want to protect employment and economic growth, this is a big mistake. Our politicians have overlooked the pyramid of industries that are dependent on a steady stream of breakthroughs from pure science. We're throttling economic growth. In the last century, the invention of the internal combustion engine, transistors and fibre optics led to worldwide growth of industry. These industries are now in decline because enough products have been made to satisfy public needs. Only with further innovation inspired from good science will the next generation of products be realized. The Higgs project evolved out of earlier work being done at CERN. In 1973 and later in 1983, CERN announced it had discovered the force carriers that mediate radioactive decay using an earlier particle collider experiment. The discovery led to a theory unifying electromagnetism with the force causing radioactive decay. The theory is inadequate to explain natural radioactivity. Without the particle collider, there is not enough energy to create the force carriers. The inconvenient truth, the research is biased towards building expensive particle colliders. In 1964, the physicist Peter Higgs proposed there was a force carrier that gave mass to all other particles, but not to photons. His theory does not explain inertia in everyday systems. There was a mistake. Physicists assumed that the photon was massless. It turned out this was only a figure of speech. The confusion arises because particle mass is declared when the particle is at rest. A paradox occurs with light or photons because they cannot exist while stationary. The theory should have considered mass in moving photons. If photons were genuinely massless, then due to Einstein's famous equation, they can have no energy and our roof solar panels cannot convert light into electricity. With this mistake corrected, theory becomes much simpler. Mass is the cause of the particle-like nature of high-energy photons. The energy is seen travelling in individual packets of a defined size and can easily be seen using laboratory equipment. Conventional matter is gravitationally trapped light. To date, there is no peer-accepted theory to explain the Earth's gravitational pull. Theories under consideration have failed to unify into a single mathematical framework. An alternative theory uses a patterning artifact created out of the sudden step in material density at the Earth's surface due to time continually looping between normal reality and its Fourier representation. This also explains well anti-gravity phenomena observed firing high current pulses into superconducting disks. Patterning artifacts arise whenever a quantized system is perturbed to take on energy that is normally forbidden by quantization rules, or it is subjected to very sudden changes. We should stop believing in science fiction and accept that time is looped. There is no such thing as dark matter or dark energy. We should stop wasting time and money searching for it. The influence of gravity has changed because the spatial distribution of mass is now different. The cost of an internationally funded next step experiment in magnetically confined fusion, ITER, continues to rise astronomically to the point where it really should be abandoned. As of 2025, the cost has risen from a budget of €6 billion to over 18 billion, and the estimated total cost up to €65 billion. The project has been described as the most complicated engineering project in human history. First plasma was scheduled for 2025, but has now been delayed nearly 10 years due to constructional delays. The ITER design was completed in 1998 and has since been superseded using more cost-effective technology. Companies in the UK, such as Tokamak Energy and the Spark project in USA, are likely to build cheaper and faster proof-of-concept experiments. However, it's extremely unlikely that a successful experiment will lead to any further development. The mistake was not to run any sanity checks on the emerging technology. To succeed, it has to be economically as well as technically feasible. There is the issue of radioactive waste due to neutron activation of the plasma-facing components. It is unlikely that magnetically confined fusion will produce energy that is any cheaper or safer than nuclear fission. A planned project in Japan, the International Fusion Materials Irradiation Facility, would allow cheaper proof-of-concept testing of fusion components. It still hasn't been built. The maximum runtime of fusion experiments to date is only tens of seconds, but for a power plant scenario we require decades of reliable continuous operation. This is an improvement of 6 orders of magnitude. The project roadmap will be long and very expensive. An alternate technology uses laser beams, high-energy projectiles, or electromagnetic pulses to compress and heat fuel pellets. The problem is getting more energy out than is put in. The recent 2022 news headline of the National Ignition Facility claimed an energy gain factor of 1.5 times. Unfortunately, this was measured at the laser output. The announcement is misleading because the flash lamp powered lasers are only 1% efficient. This approach should be abandoned because the roadmap to achieve break-even electrical efficiency is just too long and expensive. The science of cold fusion is poorly understood due to the mistakes mentioned earlier. The timing was bad. Of 2006, USA had committed to spending money on ITER, and budgets on other fusion research were cut back. The big advantage of cold fusion is that there is no radioactivity, and we now have a power source suitable for transport. In an online lecture by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, cold fusion is described as a resonant decay process, and this is why no radiation is being produced. In my personal research, I confirm 5% excess heat, replicating an MIT-designed experiment. In my YouTube video on cold fusion, I present theory and the design of a reactor that will generate commercially useful amounts of energy. The roadmap for working devices is longer than magnetic hot fusion. The big advantage, however, is very low cost due to small benchtop experiments for proof of concept, and there is never any danger of harmful radiation. Here is a countdown of my top money-saving fixes. Number 7. Dismiss overcomplicated theory. If the theory needs specialist knowledge and pages of algebra, it is likely a smokescreen to disguise flaws. A good theory should be explainable to the common public using simple language. Examples from Einstein's work. The speed of light is always constant. Mass and energy are equivalent. Number 6. Do not ignore fringe science. Unexplained phenomena that are seen by independent teams of researchers all around the planet need to be seriously investigated. A breakthrough discovery may be imminent. Number 5. Do not ignore discoveries in other areas of science. Nature does not organise science to fall neatly into man-made categories. For example, non-local quantum effects are not being considered while developing the standard model of forces and particles. Number 4. Do not ignore results from small projects. Researchers can focus much more effort on the actual problem. Ancillaries managing a large site only too easily become a distraction. If the findings are controversial, be prepared to spend money and effort on independent replications. Number 3. Run sanity checks before supersizing. If you are confident that the project works, also check that the project will pay for itself. If the project supports multiple areas of research, this is a big advantage. Number 2. Do not hesitate to cut off funding from underperforming projects. If a project does not yield any results, cut funding immediately. Tell the workers that their project was successful and it proved that the theory or the approach was not valid. Give the workers a list of other projects and ask them if they have any ideas. Tell them that further funding will be given if they show success in a small pilot project. My number 1 fix. Never allow scientists to set their own work objectives. They rarely see the big picture. They'll put all their effort into pet projects in highly specialist areas. The spend will get diverted into personal income. If our leaders really care for mankind's long-term future, they need to draw up a list of public concerns and then assign research tasks. For example, climate change, radioactive waste, cheaper spaceflight. Then they need to assign research categories such as decarbonising energy, destruction of nuclear waste, or researching anti-gravity. Thank you for watching my video. Please check out my follow-on article, Fixing Massive Mistakes in Physics. The link is given in the text below this video. Please also follow the link to my YouTube video about cold fusion and my other PDF articles.